All right, this is Jim Pierce here, Jim of all trades, coming at you with another video. Hey, I just thought I'd have some fun on this Saturday um, uh, afternoon, evening. I've just been kind of relaxing at my house and just thinking about where's Litecoin and Bitcoin heading the next, and I just thought I'd show you a couple things quickly that I seen in the charts. So let's get right to it without a bunch of further ado. What you're looking at right now is a Bitcoin chart, and you can see what I've drawn here. This is actually in the log scale. Which is what you use over wide time ranges. And what you'll see, if you look carefully, is that this begins prior to 2012, and it goes all the way up to the present day. And I'll show you what you're looking at here shortly. So, anyway, what I started with is I just started drawing trend lines and just wanted to see kind of what's going on. And so, basically, the first thing we note is that this bottom trend line, and how from here to there, you can see how it's just the price has respected that trend line all the way up. Secondly, what I did is I just drew a trend line from the highest peak here to the highest peak here, and just drew that trend line as well. What you'll notice, um, excuse me, what you'll notice is, make sure I'm still, there we go, still going on. What you'll notice is that it's creating an upward wedge. Now, I don't know if you know of any chart patterns, but let me just do a quick lesson for you here, real quick. Sometimes in chart patterns, what you'll have is in a bearish and in bear markets, in general. You'll have the prices coming down, and then it'll come up, and the price pattern will create this upward wedge, and eventually it topples out and it comes down. A lot of times it doesn't go very far, and it'll go far, and then it'll start going up again. Price will go up again, and you can draw you can draw a wedge. Not very great with this drawing tool, but you get the idea, and it'll come down again. So that's kind of what the wedge looks like. And so this is kind of looking like, just looking at it, an upward wedge. And what we would expect is that price will do this trick within that wedge. Now this is over a really long period of time, right? So it's going to do this trick, basically until it gets to a point where it just gets squeezed out. It's got to make a decision, and it'll head on down. The exciting thing is that if I carried that line, you'll notice, where that price is. Somewhere around the $225,000 mark, and who knows the exact mark. It could be a little higher, it could be a little lower. I guess the point is that you can kind of just see the shape pattern. That's kind of what's happening. But the good thing is that we are still creating that wedge. Where do I think Bitcoin's heading, and what do I think it's going to look like? Well, I drew these arcs. You can kind of see this. This part right here is conjecture. I'm just guessing because we don't have that data on this chart with Bitstamp. This is as far back as it goes, so I just drew it just to kind of continue the pattern. But you can kind of see how we're creating these smaller and smaller, arcs here on the map, on the chart. So we zoom in a little bit. Let's see if we can get here, adjust it just a little bit. When you're log scale, things get slightly out of tune. You gotta kind of play with it just to get it. Nothing's perfect in this world, so we got to be careful that we don't measure everything based upon what we see here. But just kind of get an idea of what's going on. So what we see here is we're right here. Right here with price. We expect it most likely. It's just going to come down, and it's gonna start rounding the corner, and come back up here to a new high, and that's a gorgeous picture there. Who knows exactly where that's going to be. If we look more proportional, I guess. Um, we have on this one quite a big gap right here, so it's possible that there's a gap here, and it'll fill out right there as it rounds up. So who knows? Anywhere from, I'd say, about 45,000 to up here where I've just drawn that to 80 to Bitcoin can get, and that's looking somewhere around the end of 2019, somewhere towards October to December 2019 is when it's going to hit that peak, according to this. Again, we're just playing around and having some fun with the chart, but it's fun and exciting to think about. So if that's the case, let's kind of look and see what might price do then in the very near term. So if I just kind of zoom in, I'm on the weekly chart. So every candle you see is a week's worth of price action. Um, and let's just kind of see. Now, what you'll notice is that while this trend line is from the peak down to where we are now, and you'll notice that right here we've deviated from, and through this area there was no trend. I mean, as far as that's concerned, actually the let's see if I can get a trend line here. There we go. The trend, was more like that. Well, we broke market structure and came on down. But if you'll note that if I continue to draw that line from the peak, you'll see it forms this perfect. So this has been following this trend line. The price has been following the trend line. So what I expect, my personal opinion based upon what's going on, is that even though while price will go relatively sideways, and most likely, my buddy Craig Bartel is probably right, that right here we put in somewhere close to the bottom. There's a good possibility that that's not the exact bottom, but it's certainly close to it. What I'm expecting things to do is you can see we've already started to make this downward turn here. So I'm expecting, if I get my brush tool, there we go, that price is going to come on down to this trend line. It's going to capitulate finally to this point, either touch that line or and continue bouncing sideways like so, and then rise up like that, which would create our arc. So that's a possibility. We don't know exactly what it's going to do, but I would guess that we're probably not in the near term going to break bullish out of this channel. If we do, it's only going to be a small amount. If we break out of this current situation, we'll break out right here, maybe to this below 7,000, and then come on back down to that line and then continue on. So who knows exactly what the price is going to do? It's hard to tell, but my guess is that this trend line is going to stay strong. It's going to break. Just the way the market feels right now, it's so weak. It is so weak. But my guess is that it's just going to come on down here, and it's just going to capitulate. Now, is a good chance a lot of people are thinking that, and in my experience, a lot of times when a lot of people are thinking that it's going one way, then it goes the other way. So we really, really don't know. But what we do know is, I think the close to the bottom is in. I used to be one who thought that we're looking at probably 4,000 or 3,000 Bitcoin. Looking at this, I really don't think that at all now. I think we're close to the bottom. That's good news for Litecoin as well. Yeah, let's see if we can just zoom in just a little bit more and guess at some more specific days. Let's go to the daily chart here. All right, there we go. You can see that we are forming. We've got another trend line right there, right? But even that. So my guess is, this line really should be more like that. There we go. If we get more specific, really more tightly drawn, that most likely, if I include the wicks here, we can do that. So sometimes, drawing these trend lines is super difficult. I tend to like not to draw them based on the wicks, but more of the body of the candle personally. But my guess, my feeling as far as where we are is this is just going to break down like this. Go here to this trend line back to 62. I think it's going to probably continue, and this is going to be our capitulation candle. Boom, where we are just the market finally capitulates, and there's a big dump, and it's going to happen over the next jump. But the good news is that it's going to continue going sideways, and then it's going to start going up from there. But that's going to be months away. So it looks like 2019 is the year for us, folks. Just not to discourage you, but good news is this is the time to buy between now and the next month or two. Get your money ready and get ready to buy, because it'll be the lowest price you're going to see, in my opinion, based upon what we're seeing here. This is Bitcoin, so all that being said, is all that's going to really changed the way we look at Litecoin. Really, Litecoin's a lot differently if we just zoom out on the weekly big picture. Yeah, let me get rid of that. It's kind of old. Um, who knows? Um, Zoom out here. Litecoin is a little bit of a different baby. Let me go to the log scale here. Um, Really, let's see what Bitstamp does. LTC USD on Bitstamp, which has probably there we go. Back in this 2017 is when Litecoin first has its data here. This is the weekly. If we draw these trend lines here, we can kind of see that. There you go. And so, yeah, the chances are that the bottom is most likely really close to in here as well at 48. My guess is that if I drew this trend line here, where do you draw that guy? If you could draw it there, and if that's the case, then there's room to come up and then that back down and then on. Um, but the way that is looking, um, just the way that price is acting right here, this is looks more like the line. Even that I'm not sure about. If I take a more recent approach, we come from that peak to that peak, and we're creating kind of a wedge right in there. And so, depending on how you draw that line, how it looks, it just really looks like we're coming down to this line. We're going to retest 50 again, 49, 48. It might even spike down a little lower to 43, 45, something like that, and then head back up as Bitcoin does its thing. Now, um, no one knows exactly what it's going to do. So who knows what it's going to do? But my guess is that we're not going to break out of this triangle that we're currently in. My guess is that we're not going to break up. If we do, it'll be a short-lived bear trap possibly, and then come back down, and then it'll continue on. So like that. So anyway, there you go. Those are my thoughts here on Bitcoin and Litecoin, just where we are. Nothing more to say there. Hey, hope you enjoyed that. I hope that gets you excited because really, we're really close to the bottom, and good times are coming, and your investments in the foreseeable future may turn into some fantastic gains for you, and it was worth holding and worth waiting and worth buying, and you're going to be glad you did in a year or so. So just hold on there, hang in there. You got another year to hang in there, and you'll see some fruit for your labor. Okay, you guys have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you on the next time.